Good afternoon and welcome to Raina Mo's Designs. Today we're going to be taking some simple vessels and turning them into some beautiful table decor in a rustic glam scheme. So if this sounds like a tutorial that interests you, please keep watching. So this particular project I'm going to be doing in a duo set with a high-low theme and a rectangular theme. Obviously it's going to be rustic glam at its best because you know I have to add a little bit of bling. So we're going to be using both of these vessels, which both came from the Dollar Tree, along with this ribbon that I was fortunate enough to find finally at one of my local Dollar Trees. And this particular project is very easy. So the first thing we're going to do is prep our ribbon by measuring it around both vessels in the area in which we want to apply it, and then we'll be using our hot glue. So I'm just going to show you how I measure. I want this to be centered, and this particular ribbon is wired, so that helps with our application. So now that I see where I want to cut my ribbon, I take my scissors and I do just that, cut the ribbon. So I'm going to go ahead and do this with the taller vessel, and when I come back I'll show you the next step. So now that I have my ribbons cut to measure, the next part is to go ahead and affix it to the vessel. And what I'll be using to do that is hot glue. The only reason that I'm using hot glue though is because I want to be able to recycle these vessels for use. But if you're making a wedding centerpiece utilizing this design, then you probably want to use either some Mod Podge to help affix it along with a bead of hot glue, or you can use E6000 or Fix All glue to make it a little bit more permanent, and then Mod Podge over the top of it, which will secure it. So I'm just going to take my hot glue and apply. Now keep in mind that this vase is glass and that the glue is going to cool really quickly. So make sure you keep that in mind when you're working with it, as opposed to if it was metal, like the galvanized vessels that we decorated for our other Rustic Glam project. It held the heat because it was metal. So we want to always keep that in mind. And please be very careful when you're working with hot glue, because it does cause severe burns. Just going to clean up that edge and add a little hot glue on top of the ribbon and affix it. And here is your scene. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing on the next vessel, and when I come back I'll show you the next step. So now that we have all of our ribbons nicely affixed to our vessels, I'm going to use this vessel and move on to the next step, which is using our Mod Podge and our shattered mirror to go ahead and embellish these beautiful vessels. So I'm going to time lapse through this, because if you've watched any of my other tutorials, you've seen this process and technique before. So I'm going to go ahead and show it to you again, but through time lapse.
All right, my crafty queens. Here you can see I'm using the same technique as before, where I take my Mod Podge and I saturate the top of the vessels. And then from here, I will actually use the crushed mirror detail to affix to the top of the vessel where I have placed Mod Podge. And I'm basically just going to pour and then pat and pour and pat as I rotate the vessel so that the crushed mirror can fall off You've seen me do this technique before, and as I've mentioned before, I first saw this technique with Elegance on a Budget, her channel. If you haven't checked it out, you really need to, because she does beautiful, gorgeous work. But she was the first person that I saw, I believe, doing this particular technique, and it's just beautiful. So what I'm going to do is continue this same process using this technique for the tall vessel as well as for the shorter vessel. You can decide if you only want to do the top of your tall vessel and leave the bottom clear. I'm actually going to do the top and bottom of the taller vessel, and the shorter vessel will only be towards the top because that's the most glass that I have exposed. But I'm just going to let you guys go ahead and watch the technique, and then before you know it, it'll be time for the next reveal, and I hope you guys are ready because it's almost here. And so here is our final reveal of these beautiful glamified Dollar Tree vessels that we have transformed into this gorgeous rustic glam centerpiece with a high-low theme. We've used chrysanthemums and berries, which go along with the color scheme of the burlap and lace ribbons. We've put some Dollar Tree tea lights in to show the glistening of the crushed mirror. And this particular centerpiece is so budget friendly, but you wouldn't be able to tell because it looks so elegant and so extravagant on such a small budget. I hope you guys have enjoyed this particular tutorial. Give us a thumbs up and definitely comment down below. Subscribe to our humble channel if you haven't subscribed already. And if you have subscribed, we thank you very much. And remember to always click the notification bell so you'll know each time I have a new upload. But of all of this, have an absolutely wonderful evening. Bye.